We turn now to the deadly fighting gripping Sudan. A vicious power struggle between two generals erupted into widespread violence over the weekend. Hundreds have reportedly been killed and many more injured. A key battleground in the fighting, the airport in the capital of Khartoum, and that's severely complicating matters for diplomats, their families, and for Canadian citizens who want to flee that country.
The airport is inaccessible, obviously closed, the streets are unsafe. The situation renders it impossible at the moment we speak, but of course we're assessing the situation constantly.
The government's advice to Canadian citizens stranded in Sudan is to shelter in place, stay away from the windows, and ensure that you have essential supplies. Global Affairs Canada says it's aware of at least 1,500 Canadians in the country. The parents of my next guest are among those 1,500. They are trapped in Khartoum. Shama-el Sidahmed is in Kitchener, Ontario. Shama-el, I wonder, what can you tell me about your parents' current situation? Are they safe? Do you know how they are?
Well, I did speak to them earlier today. The situation is getting worse. Since the war erupted about a week ago now, it's going on to day 7 for them. And I do want to emphasize that this war is not between civilians. It's between two military factions. It has nothing to do with the civilians, but yet they're suffering the most, of course. And basically, just like many others, when this, the violence started, they were not home. So they had to take shelter in basically a stranger's house. And because of that, they don't have access to their belongings, their medication, their documentation, their passports and things like that. And so as it stands right now, there's also no electricity, no water, very limited resources. Hospitals have been destroyed. Pharmacies are being looted, so there's no access to medications, even if they are open. And people are actually dying in their homes because the militia is entering the homes. It's kicking people out of their homes, looting, destroying their belongings, and also sexually assaulting them. It's a very dangerous situation right now to even be in the house. And I understand, sheltering in place, but right now that's just as dangerous as being out on the streets in the capital of Khartoum. So, respectfully, it's not, the best or the safest option right now.
You've mentioned medication a couple of times in that answer. I understand your father is a diabetic. Does he have enough of what he needs for the time being? How worried are you there?
I'm very worried. He doesn't have, because he was just out of the house for the day. Like, he doesn't, go with his medications, probably takes it in the morning and in the evening. And he has a glucometer, so he can't actually monitor his, blood sugars as well. And diabetes is the one that's the most urgent, I would say, but amongst other medications that he has, but yeah, he doesn't have access to his medication. So that's concerning, because that's dangerous. That's life or death, So, and he can't access, it's dangerous, like the government is recommending to stay shelter at home. The only way to get access to his medications would be to leave the home and get, and that would be a very big risk, because right now there's just, stray bullets everywhere, and it's just not safe. So, yeah, we're worried.
So he doesn't have, obviously, enough medication and can't get access to it. It's not safe, based on the situation you described, to leave the place that they have taken refuge in for now. Where are they on supplies inside that home in terms of water, in terms of medicine? Can they barricade it sufficiently so that they're safe from what's outside on the street?
They actually, it's like whatever was in the fridge or the freezer of the house that they happen to be at, that's what they're basically like, rationing the water that they have, the food that they have. I think there's a bakery right attached to that house or something, so they have access when it's open and when there is supplies to just literally walk next door and get it. So they've done that one time, but they're scared to leave, of course. And every time I've FaceTimed with them, I can hear the bullets, I can hear the missiles, I can see the smoke with them. It's just scary. It's like surreal. Yeah.
This is it's terrifying what you're describing. I mean, the way you describe it, that you can hear the bullets right outside and you can see the smoke. When you hear the Foreign Affairs Minister say that at the moment it's impossible to evacuate Canadians who are stranded in Sudan, I mean, what goes through your head when you hear that?
Well, I understand. I understand that they're concerned with the safety, but I'm also disappointed because I think that they can, like, there's neighboring countries like Egypt and Ethiopia. They've offered to negotiate like a ceasefire, for example, and Canada can make an effort with them and uh, work with them to figure out how we can do uh, evacuation via land, right? Sudan has other bordering countries. It doesn't have to be via air because our airport is destroyed. So I understand that it's dangerous to be flying right now, but there are other ways. And I think that there needs to be a plan. It needs to be concrete. Like it just that's where I stand. I think that
Right.
Canada needs to make an effort, a more coordinated response with those countries to evacuate Canadian citizens via land.
When you last FaceTimed with your parents, what did they say to you? I mean, did they give you a sense of how they're feeling and how they're doing? I mean, what did they tell you?
Yeah, so it's my mom is very nervous, scared every time I see her, talk to her. She's worried. They feel hopeless right now because it's like as the days go by, it's not a 1 2 day, it's almost a week now, right? They're going into day 7. They don't sleep obviously because the firing is just happening, all day. It might stop for like an hour and they're like, okay, they feel hopeful for like an hour and then it starts again. My dad is a little bit, trying to take it like, I guess, stay as positive as he can, and that's just his nature. But they're stressed, and we can see it, and they are stressed that we're stressed. They look at for us, it's been hard. So it's not an easy situation for anyone, and just the unknown and not having an end in sight, that's scary. And that's what we want is a plan by the Canadian government to just give us. I understand that because of the safety, they can't evacuate like at this moment. But if they can have a plan, and that can be halted, I understand with security situations and issues, but at least show that there's a plan in place. And I know that other countries have started evacuation plans. So I would just like to see that. And it's not just myself, it's all the other Sudanese Canadians that are here in Canada that I've spoken to, my friends, my colleagues, and we all feel the same way.
Right, and you haven't heard anything on that to this point, and that is only compounding the frustration.
All we're being told is to shelter at home,
Right.
get your belongings but sheltering at home, like I said, it's just as dangerous at this point. And some people are actually fleeing the capital right now, and that's the risk they're taking. So it's a risk staying at home. It's a risk trying to flee, on our own. So if the Canadian government gets involved and there's an evacuation, that would be the proper way to do it and the less risky way.
Well, Shama-el, I hope your mom and dad are safe, and I hope they get out of there soon and get to safety soon. I want to ask a favor. Can you stay in touch with our team and keep giving us updates, and we will have you back at a later point when we know more.
Absolutely. Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak on this. And I just want to bring awareness to everybody so people know what's happening in Sudan, Africa. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And I hope your mom and dad are good. That's Shama-el Sidahmed. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.